Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different, and that is we're not actually going to do any fishing today. I get a lot of requests to go over my boat and how I got it rigged up and what it looks like and the modifications and everything that I got going on. So it's been a long time coming, but that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through, give you the walkthrough of my 2020 Native Watercraft Slayer 12.5 Max. Try saying all that fast. But that's what we're going to do. The first half, I'm just going to do like a walkthrough of the kayak. There's going to be a brief intermission. And then the second half, I'm actually going to show you how I did, like the actual how-to portion of it. So if you just want to see the modifications, you can watch the first half. If you actually want to see the nuts and bolts of how I did a lot of this stuff, stay through to the intermission, and you can see the actual how-to at the end of the video. But let's get to it. All right, guys, obviously I'm doing this on land because it's easier to do a walkthrough when you're on land, but this is basically how I have it rigged out when I'm out on the water. Again, it is a 2020 Native Slayer 12.5 Max in Copperhead. That's the name of that orange coloration. As far as I'm concerned, that is the best coloration that they have. They got a lot of cool color schemes, but man, I prefer those really loud, bright orange colorations. Plus it's pretty visible on the water, so that's really cool. And that's basically what it looks like when it's on the water. But let me go through, I'm gonna go from front to back to kind of go over what I got going on. Up front is I've got the navigation lights, the red green navigation lights. I added those. This is actually just one of these I mean, that's just for like pontoon boats, but they make a lot of like real cheap ones, you know, like Atwood makes the real cheap ones that you can stick on there, and they're battery powered. I absolutely don't like those things. They're not very durable, and you got to swap out batteries all the time. This is actually hardwired. The wires actually run through the boat, and I'll show you what actually happens with that. But it's operated on a switch from the seat, so you don't have to climb all over your boat to do your lights, which is cool. The boat comes with horizontal rod storage. I actually don't really use these. I'll show you what I use in the back for the rod storage, but it comes with horizontal rod storage. It also comes equipped with this you know, the hatch up front, and I'll go through the hatch. I really don't keep a whole lot in there, but this little thing comes out and gives you access to the inside of the boat, and that's actually where I keep some extra cold weather gear and some rain gear and stuff down in there in the event that I need it. The one thing about the boat that one of the downsides is, when I compare this to my Old Town or the old Hobie that I had, the storage is minimal, and the access inside the boat is minimal. There's some other features that are really good, but the actual enclosed storage is not what I have on my other boats. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that tray comes out and you have access to the inside of the boat. You got a little storage container here. Again, I just keep gloves, a little tool kit, rope, that sort of thing. Now this is something that I really like. This is how I power the depth finder and the lights and everything, the accessories that I have. It's a Dakota lithium battery. I believe that is a 17 amp hour battery. It's actually a little bit overkill for what I have. However, I would rather have too much power and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's kind of what I got going on with that. I have it set up with a quick connect. Those things just snap right off, and I can take the battery in the house and charge it, and then when I'm ready to go on the water, just take it back, do the quick connect, and pop it right on there. So that's cool. Let me show you this. This is something else that I really like. Oh, sorry, it's dirty. But the transducer for the depth finder goes through there. There's actually a hole, and a hole through the hull. There's a hole through the hull, and that's where the transducer goes through. And when you stick and watch the how-to section, you can actually see the recess. I show you the recess and how I mounted that on the underside of the boat. But that's really cool, and it all comes through. And I have all my wires and stuff. I'm using these what do you call it, Yak Attack through hole wiring kits. And so any penetrations into the boat, I've kind of cleaned up with those through hole wiring kits. So that's what it looks like inside the compartment. Now, one of the common questions that I get asked a lot is, how do I do my filming and everything while I'm out here? Well, this is how I do it. I've got just a Yak Attack, a little adjustable mount with my GoPro here. There is a extended life lithium battery that charges up, that it runs for about 6 hours. I'm trying to figure out a different solution to that. I think I'm gonna do something different. I think for most people and for most uses, this little battery pack would be more than sufficient. However, like on tournament days when I'm out there for 8 hours, that does not last the entire day. So I got to figure out something else for that. But for most of my normal fishing videos where I'm just out there for you know 5-6 hours, that's plenty enough. But that's how I mount it. And obviously, you know, it's adjustable. You can kind of move it around and do it any way that you need to, as you see fit. Moving up, I got this little Yak Attack cup holder that sits in the track. It's got tracks on either side for accessories. I actually don't use it for my coffee cup too much. I actually use this one, but it has a built-in cup holder, which is awesome, and it's got a forward-facing rod holder, which is really nice to have up there. For the depth finder, I'm using this Garmin, what is it called? An EchoMap 93 SV. It has GPS and down imaging and side view. And I'm going to be the first one to admit I don't know how to use the side view at all. It's something I need to figure out. But I bought it specifically so I could have the side view. And then now that I got it, I don't know how to use it. And then I've got it mounted to this little Yak Attack adjustable mount thing. And I like it because when I'm driving down the road, this thing, it just pops right off. And you can set it down there. And then when you're ready to actually fish with it, it just puts back on and you fasten it like that. Obviously I have it mounted real low because, you know, if you're trying to skip docks or something, you want it low, but you can twist these knobs and adjust it any way that you see fit. But overall, I really like this unit. It's very user friendly. Yeah, I really like it. I like the map features on it. It's really nice in that respect. The seat, obviously I'm a short guy, so I have the seat like pushed up absolutely as far as it'll possibly go because I got short legs. But this seat, you just twist these little knobs and you can slide it forward and back to adjust it to however is comfortable for you. Now obviously the seat, it has a high position and a low position. Everyone that I know keeps their seat up in the high position. I think I'm the only person that keeps it in the low position, and that's because I feel unstable up top. It's not that it's an unstable boat, but I feel unstable in the top, and the reason for that is it sits up high, and like when you're sitting and say you get hung up in a tree or something, and then you pull up beside it and you have to lean over, you know, to try to get your lure out of the tree. I feel very uneasy like leaning over. I just think it's too high for me. That's just a personal preference. I'm sure that it's way more stable than what it feels like, but I don't have good balance anyway, so I just keep it in the low position just because it's just a matter of comfort for me. On this side, this is where the propeller and the pedal drive system mounts. Basically, you just lift it up, this plastic thing comes out, and then the propeller slides down in there, and then you pedal. pretty easy. I was initially having lots of trouble with water getting in the boat through this, because this thing pops up, and then I figured out what the issue was. The issue was, you can see it right there, this strap was sitting right in that little recess there, so I wasn't getting a tight seal. So as I was pedaling, I would get water in the boat. That's because I didn't have a tight seal. So that's just a little trick. If you're getting water in your boat through this thing, check to make sure that that's not doing what it was doing, and make sure those knots are tight there. So that tip is free. It's got a couple scuppers. You know, those things just pop in and out. It's got a decent standing platform, but again, I discussed that I'm not very good at anything involving balance. So as far as the balance is concerned, I pretty much stay seated pretty much all the time, just because I am not comfortable at all in the standing position. Now, some of the things that I've done, you know, the cabinet can get kind of dark, so I've added these little lights. I think I got those off eBay or Amazon or something, just to add a little bit of light inside, and those things are hardwired inside the boat. And everything that I have hardwired comes to this. This is something I really like about the boat. It has a plate for all your accessories, and so I've done a you know, through hole yak attack to go to my depth finder, as well as, oh, these things are all crooked, but these are my switches for, that's for my my lights, and my running lights all go to there. I think I'm gonna add like a USB charger up there just for my phone, because you know, when you're in tournaments, you can never have enough battery life. So I think I might put a USB charger in there as well, just for some additional peace of mind. On this rail, I keep this little rod holder. Sometimes it gets in the way, but the great thing about this rod holder is it's got that yak attack, that quick release that the other one has, so I can just pop it off when I need it. Really like that. I mean, the thing, your rod slides right in there. This is actually a really good rod holder. I really enjoy that. Now, something that I have added, because I have so much bad luck with fish jumping off my board, the league that I'm in does allow mouth clips, so when you're measuring your fish. So I've added just like a panfish clip that I've attached there, so now I can clip my fish rather than watching it jump off the board and swim away. Here is one of the upgrades that I've done. It's the Burley Pro, the handle for the steering handle. Let me tell you, this is absolutely a requirement, and I wish that it wasn't. And this is one of my major grievances about the boat in general. The stock handle is a piece of crap. I wish that Native would fix that, because it's been a known issue forever. And my personal opinion is, as expensive as these boats are, there should be no reason that known problems should be continuing to persist. The stock handle that was on there, it actually broke off and left me stranded out in the middle of the water. And it's a piece of garbage. So you do need to upgrade. I wish that was not the case. Come on, Native, man, you got a great boat. Why would you skimp on the handle? But that's just the case. You have to upgrade this. And I did a walkthrough at the end of the video that kind of goes through how to install that Burley Pro handle rudder system on there. Now, behind the seat, you got ample storage back here. This is just a Tupperware bin. That's where I keep additional battery. That's mostly just batteries in there. And I'll keep my phone in there if it's raining, just to keep it out of the water. The net, I keep it just right behind the seat. I know a lot of people keep it up front. I don't know, I don't like it up there because I get tangled up in it and stuff. But the net, I keep it right there, and I can kind of just whip it out to the side. It is attached to a tether that is attached to The seat, it only took me 2 nets. It only took me losing 2 nets for me to learn that I need to tether that thing. So it's definitely worth tethering. I would highly advise tethering that thing to your seat or to some other thing that is going to be staying with you. It's got some handles back here, you know, for lugging your boat around. It's got 2 built-in rear-facing rod holders, so that's nice. This is the native Sidekick. It's basically, you know, like the Boondocks, the landing gear. It's a game changer as far as if you're still messing around with those universal carts. Let me tell you, you only live once, and these things are absolutely worth it. The landing gear is worth their weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. And the cool thing about the Sidekick and the actual native brand is it fits right in the track, so you don't actually have to drill any holes. It's made for it, and it slides right on there. The wheels, you basically just pop them out and slide them back in. And yeah, if you're still messing around with those universal carts that are just a piece of junk, man, toss it. This is absolutely worth the money. As far as all the upgrades that I've done, that is the number 1 upgrade that you need to have. I mean, it's absolutely it's beautiful. Now, behind the seat, I keep one of my main methods of storage is coffee cans, just because I go through a bunch of coffee, and so I always have coffee cans. But I keep a coffee can. That one's for trash, and this one is just basically for like spent baits. You know, instead of them laying all over the boat, I can just throw them behind the seat and throw them into that. This is a Ozark Trail lantern / USB Bluetooth speaker. So when you hear me playing my tunes, that's what they're coming from. I like it because I can't get to it now, but not only does it play the tunes and can provide some additional light, it actually, on the bottom side, it has you can use it as a charger. So in the event that, you know, I mean, heaven forbid your batteries and everything go dead, you still have an emergency battery in that. This is probably some of the best money I've ever spent, is this little light. Absolutely love it. As far as tackle, I know everybody uses the Plano the Plano box system. I just have the old school retro 2-tray Plano tackle box that I keep most of my baits are in that. Further in the back, milk crate. I've got a couple Plano boxes, spinnerbait box. These are like my most commonly used: soft plastics, sunscreen, scale, emergency toilet paper. You never know when you're going to need the emergency toilet paper. So yeah, that's all that stuff. That loose stuff is all back in the milk crate. So that's cool. And on the milk crate, I've got 3 rod holders just zip tied to it. I kind of angle the ones in the back, and the ones that are to the left, I have them going straight up, but that's where I keep the rods that are not in use. Now, something that is important is this. Now, I was using this piece of PVC that was zip tied in here. I was using that as my light, my safety light in the back. This is just a camping light that has that's battery powered. You push the button on it and it comes on. However, I made the mistake of basically every time that I would use that thing, I would forget that it was on, and so I would run through batteries all the time. So instead, I have upgraded to this. This is actually an LED 360 safety light that, I mean, these things are like made for pontoon boats. So I've put that on there, and so now that provides the light. It's actually a lot brighter, and it's hardwired. And that's one of the things that I have hardwired into my switches here is So that's a game changer. You're not having to fumble around back there and mess around with the lights. You got it right there, and I've just attached a piece of safety flag on it. Again, use the Yak Attack through hole. Now, as far as like filming, I also use, even though I'm no longer using this light, I'm actually still using this to support my GoPro. So whenever you see the over-the-shoulder shots, that's where that's coming from. Is just a GoPro Hero 5 with this little adjustable arm, and then I have it hardwired into just a actually it's not hardwired, but I just have it linked to this accessory battery pack there. And so that's where I get my over-the-shoulder shots for my live action fishing videos. In the back, this is really cool. It's got this little container here, and that's usually where I keep my keys and stuff, so I'm not worried about, you know, losing my keys overboard, them falling out of my pocket or everything. I put anything that I'm concerned about losing into this little hatch here so that I know exactly where it is. Got a couple coolers, one's for snacks, one's for drinks. And sometimes I'll put them up in the front, but most of the time I just lay them out here in the back like this. They don't seem to go anywhere, so that's where I put them. Last but not least, safety flag for going down the road. Obviously mine's just homemade. If you actually watch the walkthrough, the initial walkthrough I did of my old town, where I did the Top Gun themed, this was actually the flag that Goose was using to wave around, and I just got a rope and just tied it on there. So I think that about covers it. Let's just do one little quick walkthrough of this fine piece of American machinery here. Woo, Nelly. So yeah, that is the walkthrough of my Native Slayer. There's going to be a brief intermission. After that, we'll go through and do the actual how-to as far as how you actually put this stuff on. All right, we're going to start off with installing the Native Sidekick. You start off with these two little pins, and those slide into the track system that's already pre-installed on the Native. You slide those two in, and there's a black piece that goes on top. You just set it on top. Two screws go in and hold that thing down. Don't tighten them down all the way, because that will allow you to be able to adjust it by sliding it up and down on the track system. There's a pole with two like red couplings that you get on either end of it, and basically you just slide that thing into those black connector pieces, and because you've left it loose, you can adjust it, make sure it doesn't interfere with the seat there. And then there's a couple set pins that hold both that red piece as well as the red piece into the black piece. This will all make sense later, and that's how it's held on. The legs, they slide right into the black piece, the receiver end, and the wheels just slide right onto the landing gear, and that's what it looks like. You can see right there on the top, there's the two set pins, and that's all it takes. Very easy installation. Now, as far as wiring the devices, it's actually really simple. In most cases, this is what you're used to seeing, where basically you have a battery with a positive and a negative, and then it goes to your light bulb. I mean, it's just red to red, and then black to black. Powers on your light bulb. That's how it works. The switch, you'll have to forgive my crude drawing here. The switch is basically just a intermediate device where you got a battery, you got a positive and negative. You wire that to your switch. Red to red, black to black. The only difference is the switch will have 3 nodes on it rather than 2, and that last one is another red, which is the positive, and then you go to the light bulb, which is, or whatever your device is. Again, and then you go red to red, black to black. And then at that point, when you come back, I mean, you can take it all the way back to the battery if you'd like, but you can just take it back to anywhere on the negative side. So that's how you wire it up. It's actually pretty simple. For all of our butt joint connections, we use these. It's basically a butt joint connector that has heat shrink already placed on it. And it's kind of important to keep the connections dry so that you don't accidentally have any kind of fires or anything out there. Really easy to use. Right there's a picture of it. You slide the bare wires into the coupling, crimp it, heat it, and that heat shrinks up and keeps it dry. Now, when you're buying wire, I use 14 gauge wire, and the store has two different kinds. It has stranded, which is what you see right here. Stranded means just that. There's lots of little strands put together. And that's the kind that you want, as opposed to the other kind, which is solid. That solid core, that's just really, really difficult to use. Now here you'll see the light installed. It's just a couple screws, and then it's wired through the Hobie through hole kit. That front light, again, it just goes through the hole. There's my dad helping me out. A little tip as far as wiring this thing up. Let me show you here in a second. As far as getting the wires through, what I did was I put the boat up at an angle, and then I tied a rope to like a heavy piece of weight, and then I let it gravity slide it down to where I needed it, and then I used that same rope to tie the wire to it, and then I could pull the rope through, and that's how I ended up wiring all of my wires through there. And then that's what you see, the switches right there, and that's where it's mounted. Now, as far as where the power comes through, it comes through there, and I have it attached to this quick connect system, and that way I don't have to worry about those little alligator pins sliding on and off. I can just use the quick connect. Now, as far as installing the fish finder, I'd alluded to it earlier, but you can see right here, there's that recess. The Native has that recess there that the transducer fits in. And so it stays out of the way, and you just install it in that little niche there. And then there's a hole through the hull, and that's where the wire comes up. And you can see it right there in that little tray there. And then I brought it through the boat, through a through hull kit, and then to the depth finder itself. Going right back to the battery pack with the quick connect. It's all powered off the same battery, and again, the quick connect makes it easy to charge and take the battery out. Here you're going to see my biggest grievance with the Native Watercraft. That handle. That's the stock handle that broke off, and had to take that thing out completely. And you'll see right here, in order to get down to where you're going to put your new handle, you have to take the old cover plate off. The problem is the seat and the base are in the way. So in order to get to the cover plate, to take the screws out, you actually have to... I made the mistake of installing my landing gear and everything before all this happened, so I actually had to undo what I did earlier and slide all that stuff back so that I could actually get access to the cover plate where the handle is actually mounted. So that's how I took that thing out. And then there you go. Now I got access to the screws that I couldn't get to before. Pull that thing off, and you'll see here in a second how there's like a little flywheel in there. That's how the rudder works. The cables go over that little flywheel, and I think I show it here in a second. Right there, that's the original stock handle, and you can see how it just sheared right off. You undo the screw on the bottom, pull the cables off, and then here in the back I needed to have make some room, so I loosened the cables in the back from the actual rudder on the back side. Make sure when you do that you don't allow your cables to go back up into the boat, because that'll be kind of a disaster trying to get those things out. But you loosen that up, and that way you can get yourself a little bit of wiggle room up top to flip that thing over. And again, that's the new handle assembly. I just took the old little sprocket flywheel and just stuck it right on there, and it's screwed down with a single screw. And then once you tighten that thing down, you flip it over. The key is you got to make sure that the cables go back over top of the flywheel. And then once you do that, you can kind of come to the back and pull your lines tight and see the handle's moving. Kind of get it adjusted close to where you want it. It doesn't have to be exact. And then put your couple screws in there to hold the handle into place. Then I'll show you some final adjustments here. And then once I got it in the back, you could pull either side of the cables to get the handle pointed straight. And then I got the rudder and then adjusted that completely straight by hand. And then once the rudder was straight and my handle was straight, you could wrap the cable around your screws and tighten that down, and that locks your steering into place. And then you can see I'm testing it out and the thing's moving around as it should. And that concludes the tutorial of how I rigged some of that stuff up. Hopefully this is helpful. If there's any information that you need, just leave it down in the comment section and I will do my best to respond. As always, if you like the content, be sure to go down in the description box and like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It is updated every week with new fishing content and new fishing adventures. So I'll be seeing you next week. This is Josh, and this is Abide Fishing.